You think we got it? We just woke this like came to be, so welcome. Oh, and I looked up, it was 13 seconds. Okay, so yesterday, welcome to the new people. Welcome back to those of you who are coming back. Baba says hello. She just wants to bring some love and sunshine into this reading. Um, but as you guys know, I just go with the flow of things. So this morning, Alder and well, I should say, Alder's gone. He's been gone for a few days and he's going to be gone for a few days, which is really good. I really need that right now. Um, we both do. We both need some time. I mean, it's been rough. I mean, it's been a rough year already, right? Like how crazy, like already. With that being said, I'm being torn in a lot of directions. So let's get grounded. Breathe in and out. Whatever feels good to you. I'm congested, so I apologize. Allergies. Let's settle in. Baba's purring. All right, thank you, Spirit. You can keep your eyes closed, open them, close them, whatever feels good. I'm just going to bring in some energy right now for us to work with today. I call upon my higher self, Baba's higher self, and the higher selves of all those who are meant to be here in this moment with me right now. And when you watch it, you will still be there with us. Your higher self is with us right now. So when you actually watch it, it doesn't matter. It will still apply. But you may hear references of the current present that we're in. Yes, thank you, Spirit. So I call on our higher selves. And I call in all energies and entities from the universe that are here for our greatest and highest good, whether they be in light or shadow, or both. Thank you for being here today. We honor you. Oh, I see them all. They're all like coming in. They're all coming in. They're all coming in. All of a sudden, I feel like I'm at like a wedding, but there's like this, it's like a church. There's this place that I'm going to describe to you what I'm seeing. You can keep your eyes closed, open them, whatever feels good. I'm keeping mine closed for now. But it's really been coming to me more now than I feel like I've always known about this place, or maybe I've dreamt about it or been there at some point in this lifetime in my childhood in a dream. Recently, I have been feeling it, and it really came to me last year during the Lionsgate portal because I mistakenly called Dragonsgate portal quite often. And then I noticed what was happening was that there was like this place like appeared to me, and it's like it feels like earth, but it's not earth. It's like this really magical, beautiful place, and the church is like made out of gold, or it looks gold, almost like more like an orangey gold though. um it's glowing, it's really beautiful, and it almost can feel like copper actually, now that I think about it. And there are these huge statues outside of this beautiful building, and they're dragons, and inside is like a church. It feels like a church, except for no church I've ever been in. And I've been in a lot of churches all over the world, but old churches. I've actually been in the oldest running church that's a building um, that's still up. And so this is like a cathedral, but the ceilings are so high, and it's so beautiful inside, and people are gathering. Anyway, that's what this feels like right now. I feel like they're here, they're protecting us. We are divinely protected, we are divinely guided, we are divinely loved. All the messages that are coming through today are divinely loving words from our Creator. If you have found yourself here today, it's because you are a light worker. And right now, I'm straight up channeling, so whatever comes out, comes out. We'll get to the cards. We're going to read from the Four Agreements deck. And actually, my soul sister and I read from them yesterday, and they were really powerful. And I pulled cards for us, and then I pulled cards for you guys. So we'll see what comes through today for all of us for today. Thank you. But for now, I'm hearing the name Cheryl, and I don't know if that means anything to anyone, but that's coming through. It feels kind of like a grandmother energy, like maybe in her 70s, light hair, um, short light hair, and glasses. She's getting very specific. They're showing me someone that I know, but they're saying that's not that person, but they're showing me that person so that it can get very specific for you. And this is a message from them saying, you can rest, but don't quit. And I heard that today from Nikki. I forget her name. She just came into my orbit recently, but she's quite a gem. She's quite an icon. She's in her 80s, and she's been a legend for a long time in America. And she started out as a stockbroker anyway. But she, right when I was coming online today, I saw that she posted, you can rest, you can stop, but don't quit. And that was just, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what I'm getting from this Cheryl person, is that they're saying, like, I didn't raise you to be a quitter. I didn't raise you to give up. It could even be Carol, because my stepmother has crossed over and her name is Carol, and it could even be that, because I've been hearing a lot of things for Carol lately, Carol of the Bells. And then when I was going to sleep last night, I heard, "Oh, Carol, how da 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 da." It's like an old song from the 50s. Look it up. I don't know who sings it. There will never be another. They're singing to me. For I love you so. Yeah. Oh, darling. They're saying to you, though, I'll never let you go. So you may have just, I feel like somebody just lost a grandmother, or you just lost somebody very precious to you. It's either a mother, a grandmother, but you just lost somebody very, very, very precious to you. It feels very recent, like in the last month, but it's so hard to say, because once the spirit is crossed over, they don't, timeline is a human thing. Bubba's so cute. Bubba says she's here to protect us right now, because there are some dark forces that are trying to push you out of your light. I've been going through that myself. And so the collective, the energetic ancestral collective, is talking to all of us right now. And they're saying, like, it's very natural what you're going through. If you want to give up, if you want to kill yourself, if you want to die, they're saying all those things. It sounds like, right, I'm just saying, like, it's flippant, but they're saying, no, 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 it's okay. It's and they were going like this because they're saying that we're protecting our heart chakra, but we've been holding the walls up too long, and now we have to start breaking those walls down around our heart, because the world and the universe in general needs our light, needs our heart light. I'm hearing Neil Diamond from E.T. Turn on your heart light, right? Let it shine wherever you go. Let it something bring a happy flow for all the world to see. I don't know what the words are, but something like that, right? So it's time for us to turn on our heart light. It's time to, maybe you need to watch ET. Maybe you need to watch something that's uplifting. I know I've been in a very dark shadow place, working through a lot of my own stuff. So if you are working through that, spirit saying you are exactly where you're supposed to be, there's nothing wrong with you. I was telling someone yesterday, a soul sister, I said, why is it that I kind of felt the victim mode? I'm like, why is it that I feel like I always have to go through everything first? I'm like, everybody else is like, oh, the eclipse, I had all these wonderful things happen. And I'm like, yeah, not the same for me. If I remember, I'll put a clip from Saturday Night Live, the alien skit with Kate McKinnon and Ryan Gosling, and I cannot remember her name. There's actually really a lot of great actors in that skit, and they've done the skit many times, and it's basically how two people get abducted, and they're talking about this miracle, miraculous, beautiful, light-filled experience. And then there's one lady who's like smoking a cigarette. She's like, "Yeah, the same. That didn't happen for me." You know? So that's kind of how I feel a lot. So if you're feeling like the latter, and you're feeling beat down and you're feeling tired, spirit saying, oddly, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And I needed this message myself, because I just have not been feeling good. Bubba too, she's got knots all over her. She's not ready to have me cut them off yet, but it's almost like we're at the end of like this kind of like, and that's what spring is, right? Like we're sloughing off the dead skin, the dead energy from winter, so that we can begin again. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, it's like it's the same. You want to slough off all the stuff from summer. And thank you, Bubba. And And as you move forward into winter, you want to go into that kind of like place of rebirth and renewal there, right? Like you want to refresh yourself so that when you go into that winter stasis, it'll be the same for you. And when you come out in the spring, and it'll happen again. Any other channeled messages, Spirit? Just staying present and being uncomfortable. I keep hearing this message of stepping out of our comfort zone. Thank you, Spirit. I've been getting that one. The number 17's been coming up a lot. That's a big number for a lot of us, but it's also the number 8. 8 is infinity. It's also the year 2024, and we are in the year of the dragon. They want us to remember our power. Yesterday, one of our beautiful tribe members said something to me that was so profound, and I'm paraphrasing, but they were saying that every night before they go to bed, they they release all that has happened that is no longer in their greatest and highest good of their evolution. And I'm paraphrasing again. And then they call back all of the parts of them that were lost or taken, or again, paraphrasing. So find a way. Maybe I'll ask her to text it to me, and then I will put it in the comments section below so that you can also maybe do that mantra. And I am telling you, it's really interesting because I do this all the time. I said, yeah, I do that all the time, but I was not in the practice of calling back the soul retrieval part. I mean, I did a whole big series on soul retrieval years ago, and it's like I forgot about it. So soul retrieval is very important, and Spirit is saying that right now, because what's happening is we're very fractured, especially as empaths. We're very fractured right now. We are broken into a lot of different pieces. We are all different levels of empaths, of medicine people. We are healers. We are witches, healers, and deep down believers in magic, right? So for those of you who are not familiar with my other channel, The Magical Medium, there is a link on here. I don't know if I'll ever get back at it 100%, but I do try to do shorts almost every day, at least just one message from Spirit for all of us. Sometimes it's just for one person. Sometimes it's for many of us. But with that being said, this is a time for us to really release things, but then also to bring back the parts of us that we have let go or that have been taken from us that we need right now. So do not be concerned or afraid. Do not live in fear. It's about calling these things back to us. Okay. Are there any more messages before we get to the card, Spirit? Not right now. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you all of you for being here. So there's many beings here. They're all different. There's like this very kind of like alligator lizard person that's like in a suit and is like sitting down with like a cocktail. Very funny, very cool. I don't know where they come from, but it's like a really good energy. I feel a little sauce from them. I feel a little tang, and it could even be for some of you, it could be someone like in your family, like maybe they're really into alligators, or like maybe it's something, maybe you're in Florida or somewhere down in the Keys or somewhere in the southern part of the United States or somewhere else in the world. There's other places in the world that have alligators or crocodiles. But this one feels very much like an alligator, not a crocodile. And wearing a pink jacket with like a yellow bow tie, and they are really funny. And there's like almost like a neon green on the lapel, but pink, and it feels very 80s and cool. And they're just like holding their like cocktail, and they're kind of sitting back like this, like on a bench with their leg crossed, like, hey, what's up? Yeah, I don't know who that is. They're really funny. Thank you for being here. Okay, so I'm gonna open my eyes now. That was so fun. I love channeling. Okay. Also, I just want to warn you, this is on purpose for air conditioning. I absolutely positively love like these long john kind of shirts, and this is like one of like a real true one that's like meant to, keep the warmth in, but it's like I gotta breathe. So anyway, this was just like a last minute thing. So much is coming through. I have not really been doing readings. And then yesterday when I did the reading with my soul sister, I was just like, I'm going to sit for a minute. I'm like, my back is kind of hurting. I've been having a lot of back issues lately because I've been not stretching as much as I want to, but also doing a lot more work than I normally do. It's been fun on the property, but it's 5 acres, and there's about a third of it that, almost half of it actually, that we have to mow and manicure and keep up with and stuff. And it's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's a great way to connect with the earth, but my body is just not used to it. And until it does, it's gonna, probably ache for a little while. I have some essential oils on. Anyway, I digress. So today in real time is May 4th, 2024. So you know I like to add them up. Um, so we have 2024 is 8, and for April is 12, and then we have the 4th, so it's 16, right? 8. Wait. Well, it's 4 and 4. Yeah. Yeah. 4 4. This is kind of a big one too because it's 4 4 24, which has a 4 in it, right? So may the 4th be with you. I love it. So yeah, that is. So 4 and 4 is 8 and 8. So that's 16. It's also the number 7, which is interesting because the number 7 has been coming up everywhere in my dreams. Everywhere. And 1857 is our angel number. Because when I looked up, it was 1559, but I saw 1857. So, and it could be a year for some of you guys. Interesting. I'm living on a very old property that was established since the 1800s. And I'm like wondering right now, because I'm looking at the old house, not the original, but the original is like on the property and it's kind of falling apart. But excuse me, but the other one was built in 1920, and then like this other part of it was built in like the, I think, 50s or 60s or something. So it's very interesting. So I don't know why that came up, but also if you want to add the numbers together, that could be a number for you to work with. It could even be that you're seeing 18 a lot, or 57, because it was like, 18 semicolon 57. And I like to talk about numerology because numerology is really important and there are messages everywhere. So with that being said, thank you, spirits, for the channeling. I don't know what cards we're going to be using for this, or if we're going to be, just having one or two messages. So we're going to be working with the Four Agreements deck. And also, hold on one second. I just realized I forgot to flip the camera. But you didn't have to hear me blow my nose. Sorry, just allergies. Are you guys having allergies? Oh, I'm in springtime in the northern hemisphere, and it's really coming for me. Also, the dust where we live, like we just mowed the grass recently, and so there's just been like all of these things that are like, I don't even know how long like we'll be able to stay here, because we both don't have like severe allergies to grass, but as it gets drier and we'll have to cut the grass and it's not raining, it's going to be a lot harder. So we'll see what happens. I'm going through such a change and transformation myself. So, I I was even surprised that this came together. Yesterday, I had the most magical day with, like I said, a tribe member, soul sister, dear friend. We've been knowing each other now for like 2 decades. We've known each other, and we lost touch for a while, but Facebook kind of brought us back together, and it's been really wonderful having her in my life. But last year we didn't really talk that much. Both of us were going through such heavy stuff, and so yesterday felt like a reunion. It felt like a coming together with an old friend, because it was. So she's more than a sister, she's a friend, and but we have a beautiful sisterhood. Anyway, with that being said, I I didn't know if it was just going to be a catch up call, if we were going to pull cards, and we ended up pulling cards and the Four Agreements. And then we also pulled from this deck. It's one of my favorites. I love it just because it's so magical. And I don't know which ones, if we're gonna, let me see, are we gonna read from any of these today? Oh, all three of them came. So interesting. So interesting, but I just heard not yet. A lot of things. This came through another tribe member who blessed me with this. So this might be a message to you. Write your book. On the back of this, though, this says, you are a very old soul. You're a great poet, and your writing is so beautiful. Begin today and write your book. Heal with each page. Recall all the amazing miracles and challenges you have faced and conquered in this, your book of life. Get started and enjoy the thoughts that make you who you are. Also, listen, and if you want to take a screenshot, let me see if I can get closer. I'll put a screenshot, whatever cards they want me to put screenshots for, I'll put in the community section. I was actually surprised they didn't have me do this on the magical medium because I keep getting this vibe like I'm going to go back to readings, but I just don't know when or how or whatever. But they really wanted this here. So there's a reason why. So if you join, Lula's Life because you like my comedy videos, or you joined because you like music or my skits or whatever, my nature videos, and you're not into this stuff, you know what? That's okay. But if you were drawn here today, you're drawn here for a reason. And, just because it says write your book, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean a book. It could be, for some of you, it's just time to journal. Maybe you've never journaled and you've always wanted to. Maybe you used to journal and this is a wake up call to get a new one. In fact, that reminds me because there's this festival that only comes around once a year around here. And last year, it was my first time going, and there were so many artists. I get that it's a big festival and it's like one of the biggest festivals in North America that they do a year, but I mean, I haven't been to a festival like that. I don't even know how long. Where like almost every single booth I would buy something from. That's incredible. That's incredible. But you have to be like really high caliber artist to get in there. It's like no joke. But I mean, I remember I said last year, I'm like, I need to save like $2,000, and I'm not even kidding. I'm like, because there were so many things I was like, how do you choose? It's like you just can't. So there was a few things that spoke to me that I really needed, and I got, and I'm so glad now. But there was this man there who makes homemade journals. He tans the leather himself. He does everything himself. But they're like this thick. And they were like $200, $50, $100. It just depended on like how much he embossed or how much he worked on it. It was just kind of like straight up leather with, it was like $50. And all the pages are like, like really aged paper. And I'm like, dude, he's a wizard. I'm like, you're a fucking wizard. Like it looks like something from another time. Like literally, it's like he came from another time and like just comes to this festival. That's how magical they are. And I couldn't choose. There was just too many. There was too many to choose from. I wanted like five of them, and I had just kind of started the festival, but it was like when it was done, I was like, okay, I can either just get one thing from him or and get nothing else. And then I was like, no, I'm gonna save up for that. And so I know like that's my goal, is to buy that. So maybe there's something like that. Like you want to buy something really magical. There's this store in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I can't think of the name of it. If you've ever been there, please feel free to comment below. But it's 2241. I also felt like this one was like 22 semicolon 41. So that's very interesting because 2 and 2 is 4 and 41 is 5, which is also 9. But which 3, 6, and 9 are really coming strong this year with the number 8 as well. But also I kind of felt like 22, maybe you're saying 22. It could be about the duality. It could be 2 and 2, whatever that means to you. But I just really stuck out to me. And then 41, I feel like could be someone's age. I felt that, but also that congratulations, because some of you are finally coming into your stability and you're starting like a new life, like 4 stability and 1 new beginning. So that really channeled hard. So I had to say it. I had to say it. I had to say it. Okay. I got the chills. Yeah. So with that being said, yeah, I feel like for some of you, yeah, there was a store in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and it's like a metaphysical store. It's really famous. I bet if you look up metaphysical Ann Arbor, it'll come up. But they had really beautiful journals like that as well. And I'm sure you can find them on Etsy and whatever. But I would say try and support local as much as you can, or support artists. Yeah, it's $200 and that seems crazy, right? But I have a journal that one of our tribe members blessed me with, like I don't know how many years ago now. And I remember thinking, oh, I'm going to like, plow through that, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, I was going through it yesterday and I found like 4 pages that were still not filled. And I thought that's kind of interesting. I've had that for so long. And that's my main journal. I still write in other things, but that's my main journal. And it's like, yeah, so wouldn't it be worth it to you to get something so precious? Not only that, but it's like a grimoire, or a memoir. It could be your book. Like maybe, did you ever think of this too? That like maybe don't worry so much about writing the book and being famous or making money or whatever. Maybe it's just supposed to be left to somebody. Or maybe it's going to be left to many people. You have no idea. We have no idea. 2439. We have no idea fully what our true purpose, even if we know what our purpose is here, we won't know exactly like until we're gone what kind of like we, you know what I mean? Like when you're gone, but you still have a lasting effect on people. one way or the other. Whether you're the bitch that, drove somebody crazy and they're still telling that story about you long after you're gone, right? Or you're that kind soul that like helped them out and, you know, gave them that $5 at the grocery store so they didn't feel shamed that they had to put something back because you're like, dude, it's $5. Let me help you, please. It's about giving and gratitude, but it is about receiving too. And I think we've been in this very strong light of giving, 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 but we need to receive. So thank you, Jules. Thank you, Anna. Both of you, thank you so much. Like I've been feeling like this really strong, like, that's what I'm starting to realize is yesterday, uh, my sister said to me that their therapist was recognizing that they didn't have a lot of friends anymore. And they were like, yeah, because I don't need them the way I used to need them. I saw something recently said the most powerful uh, woman in the world is one that doesn't need many friends. And it was coming from a man, and he was talking about healing the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and how, he's like, because when you have a lot of friends, every single person is different. That's why it's great to have friends because you get different influences from different friends. But if you have a lot of different friends and they are in all different levels of their consciousness, and say you're here and you have to keep going down and kind of like talking to them in a certain way, it's like it takes a lot of energy to bring you back up here. So, a lot of you have reached out to me through text, called me, emailed me. If I haven't responded to you right now, it's because I am in a place right now where I can't keep going to certain places, myself included. That's why Alder and I are taking a break. I actually made a request to him that we can have several breaks over the next several months while I really work on my stuff. And, I don't know. I mean, I am starting new things. Other things are not aligning with me. I was going through said journal and looking at these poems, and I'm like, wow, I was looking at my poems or my thoughts or just automatic writing. And as I was going through it, I was like, I almost want to like put that journal away and not even look at it. Even though I wanted to publish, I felt like there's like at least 26 of my poems I could easily publish in a book that I was really not just proud of, but like I feel like would help somebody else. They really helped me. That's why I write. That's why I journal. That's why I write poems. That's why I sing. That's why I work with music. It's why I talk to spirit every day. That's why I have this alignment with the energy of the universe, because, I get really depressed here. This is not my home. And I know that. And I know that I'm working, but I have days where, like I was saying to my friend yesterday, I was like, I am very lost in a lot of ways right now, but at the same time, I'm found, because when you're lost is the best place. It sounds really weird, but it's true. When you're lost is when you find yourself, but the only way to do that is to get quiet and to really pull yourself away from other people. You cannot find the answers to your story in someone else's. And if you're aligning yourself with family, friends, lovers, that you're not energetically, somebody said recently to me, because I was talking about like how like my intimacy has changed, or how I do want this but I don't want that, and the things I used to want and the things that used to feel good don't anymore. And I'm like, maybe I'm done with sex for the rest of my life. Like I used to, I'm like, maybe I had so much sex and so many partners while I was finding myself and very lost, you know um maybe I'm just sexed out. And then I saw something from Jodie Foster recently, and she was like, she's just been harping so much now that she's in her 60s. She's been talking about how rough her 50s were, and I'm 52, and it was just like everything she said, I was like, yes, yes, yes. Like I was so aligning to what she was saying. I was like, fuck, I'm like, yes, 29, 28. Interesting. Um, 29, 28, like, right, like we're going, so, and that's it, right, because we're like, it's almost like 27, 26. It's like we're gonna get there, but in the meantime we have to be where we need to be. That's why I haven't been talking to you guys as much, because I've needed a lot of alone time to process what I've been going through. I haven't been able to really be the person that I need to be for myself. And as much as I had loved, playing housewife with Alder and Bubba, I'm like, I just, it was like something has changed in me. I know we all have gone through something since the eclipse season, but the one thing that really, like, it's almost like a few weeks ago I woke up and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't want to cook every day. I don't want to clean all the time. I don't want to, I'm like, I don't, I'm like, I feel like I have better things to do with my time than that. And as much as it's been fun, it really was, because I never really got to be that. I was that, but I was always working, and I was in my youth, in my 20s. And the 20s are so hard. I feel like the 20s are one of the hardest decades. It's right now, that's what my 50s feel like. I feel like the 20s, where like you're not quite, like, I'm not quite a crone, but I'm a crone, you know what I mean? I'm past menopause, but I'm postmenopausal too. So there's just all these things, and I was grateful that my husband, has been seeking therapy, and it's been helping our marriage so much. And his therapist is a wise old Native American shaman, and he's been really wonderful. He's given us such great pearls of wisdom in our relationship. But he said, he basically told him, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically was like, she needs her, if she's telling you she needs her space, she needs her space. So you need to find a way to give that to her. And so he's been, it's then all of a sudden, like, we talked about it, and I was like, that would be really rad if we, because I said I need to leave for a long period of time, or we need to break up or something. I'm like, I need space. I'm like, I need to breathe. I need quiet. I need to not take care of somebody every single day. It's just been wearing me down. I'm like, I've spent 50 years of my life tap dancing and on eggshells to make everybody happy, wearing masks, being all different types of people, and I'm just exhausted. And recently, I said yes when I should have said no, and it really spun me out, and that's something that I'm dealing with and something I'm working through. And I realized that I had let my self-care practice, as much as I push it for you guys, I'm the same, like, I'm human, and I'm a people pleaser, and I don't mean to be. It's just part of the programming that I had to deal with growing up, because I was so different from everybody, and I wanted to be loved, and I wanted to be liked, and I wanted to be accepted so badly. And I was friends with all different groups of people, and I used to, look at it as like, I remember a childhood friend won most colored personality in high school, and I thought, that's such a great compliment. I won best storyteller, and I didn't realize till I got older that that was actually a good thing. But at the time, I didn't think so. But I, I realized that I've tried to be every color under the rainbow for everybody. And I've been fighting my outside, because I feel like my outside doesn't match my inside. And I don't know what that means, but I just know that I don't feel like myself, whatever that is. And then I ran into this beautiful angel. I ran into two angels after I prayed for them. They both like came into my orbit. I know we're gonna get to the cards, but they're like having me share this right now. Um, and these beautiful angels came into my orbit shortly after a prayer meditation, where I was like, I need friends, or I need teachers. I need a support system. I just don't feel like, because I feel like I'm everybody else's support system. And even though people are there for me, it's like I've spent years now with this, with, Magical Medium and this channel. I was doing this on the Magical Medium. I just kind of pulled it apart, but I've been doing this for years, for like almost 6 years straight. I have been helping people, and I love it, and it's a great part of my job. But people don't realize how much they drain me and how much they take from me and do not give back. I say all the time, thank you for the prayers, thank you for the candles, thank you for the donations. It does really help. And I don't even call them donations, because this is work. I am working. I love it. It's part of my life to share my life with you guys. I really do love it. But it is work. And, I think sometimes people forget that there's an exchange of energy that needs to take place, and it's not always present. So keep that in mind too while you're going through your stuff. We don't really want to bog down our friends and our family too much. It really is, happiness is an inside job. So it's great to have community, and it's great to have people there. But when you're, hey, I need help, or hey, I need, blah blah blah, and sometimes it's like people are just like, take, and I have to just like push back, push back, because the interesting thing is, I even can feel like, if you guys are like, what would Lula do, or whatever, anything like that, like, I feel it. If we're connected at any point, we're connected. And if your walls aren't up and I'm not, I'm not completely grounded and my spirituality, protected, um, I can just easily, that will just seep into my consciousness, like a sieve too. And for some of you, like when you're really struggling, I will, send you light back or whatever, but it's like, but that's work. It's still work because I'm in human form here. So whether it's in my dreams, whether it's in my waking state, and I'm not saying this to be like, ooh, boo-hoo, feel sorry for me. It's just I'm a different type of entity. I'm more than just a medium. I am more than just, a telepath. I'm more than a lot of things. I'm more than just a Reiki or a natural healer or whatever. It's like whatever I am, I'm some type of oracle, some type of angelic oracle. And people, like, I can feel the vampire. I can feel that. I can really, really, really feel that. And for some of you, if you feel the vampire coming from me, it could also be because it's for, like, maybe in this life at one point or in another life or in the future, I'm going to do something really profound for you. And so, but you also have the power to push back. Okay. Because a lot of times I don't really have people on my thoughts or on my mind. I don't. I really don't. And it's interesting how I kind of keep to myself and I'm in my own world, but then I'll think of somebody or whatever, and then I know they're thinking about me or they're, and it's like, okay, okay. And sometimes I have the energy and I'll like send you the love and, and I know some of you will be like, I totally felt you, and I'm like, yeah, I know. But it's also, speaking of cancer, look at the word says cancer on there, but it can also be very cancerous, and draining. So we have to be really careful and mindful of where and how we put our energy. Okay, with that being said, do we want anything from here right now? Okay, so we said this one. Let's see what. Oh, right off the top, I was wondering if it was like that because I kind of shuffle around sometimes. Okay, so the 4 agreements. Now let's see if they have all of the agreements present here, so that I can be correct in my. Let me make sure we have them all. Yep. Okay. So the 4 agreements are, and they may be in order, they may not be. I don't know. I'm just saying them. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. Be impeccable with your word, throat chakra. And don't take anything personally. That's the hard one. 37, 33. All those threes. Look at that. Also, 3, 6, 9, and 7. It also comes down to the number 7. So 7 is coming up a lot. And 2017 has been coming up a lot astrologically with everything we've been going through. They're saying look back at what was going on in 2017 because we're having a revisit of that now. And that makes sense because every 7 years we change everything, even molecularly, we change, I remember having just all of a sudden I was allergic to certain foods or I couldn't eat certain foods. And I went to an allergist and they explained that to me. And it was just so profound and it really, really helped me. So with that being said, it's okay. Whatever you're going through exactly what you're supposed to go through. Now, each of us are going to go through our own cycle. We're not all on the same cycle 7. Does that make sense? Right? So that's why maybe some people you're aligning with and some people you're not. Some people are going through a major, but for Earth in general, right? They're showing us that this is like a 7-year cycle that we are somehow weaving our way through. And it's also a reflection period. That's why we have the eclipse, and we're going to have another eclipse season, right? Every 6 months we have eclipse season. And usually after the second eclipse season, towards the end of the year, it's like we get a breather. We get a breather towards the end of the year, and the holidays and all that good stuff, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, people that celebrate, like, Christmas and all that good stuff. And I just Christ consciousness for me. Like, I feel like Christmas is about Christ consciousness, not about his birthday or whatever. It's just about loving each other. And, we should be in Christ consciousness every day. Christmas is every day, but it's hard to do, right? Anyway, always do your best. And again, if they want me to put any, shots, I will. My neighbor, we moved and we have this neighbor. I don't know how old he is, but he's got silver hair, silver beard. He looks like he's in really good shape. But if I had to guess, he's probably in his 70s is the energy I get from him. And he is, if it's not raining, he is outside working on his property, which it's beautiful. And his home is beautiful and it's really cool. But I'm like, sometimes I want to be like, brother, please stop. It's like, I think he's fixing his fence. So if you hear hammering, I apologize. Okay, so always do your best. Love and nurture your body. This one's been coming up hard for me because I didn't realize how bad my food addictions had gotten bad. Like I hadn't realized like how bad they had gotten again until like this last winter got bad, and then Alder and I got back on the good healthy eating, sleeping, all that train again until the move. And now for like the last like 6 weeks, and then with all the transitions and eclipse and retrogrades, I've gotten really lazy again. And it's like, I mean, I love food. I really do. You guys know I love to cook. I love to bake. I haven't done any food videos in forever. But it's just, I'm just not feeling it. And so it's been really, really, really tough. So if you're going through that too, it's okay. Also, in the Northern Hemisphere, we're coming out of winter, and I don't care if you have summer all year round, it's an energy. And when you're coming out of the winter energy and you're in spring, it's like we are in mid-spring, like we are in it, right? I mean, summer solstice is like, what, today's May 4th, so it's like 6 weeks away or something. It's really close. So we're like in the middle of spring. So now we're out of the winter, but we're not full into summer yet. And spring is the time of planting seeds and rebirth and renewal. But we have to get through it to get to it. So you're not just going to jump and be like, oh, it's spring and the flowers are out and I want to go out and I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, your body. Ooh, robin bird. Thank you, Jesus. Speaking of Jesus, the robin bird represents Jesus in the Christ consciousness. So, love yourself right now. If you can, obviously, if you have children, you have to take care of your children. But the old oxygen mask theory. We have to take care of ourselves first, and then we can take care of others. So with that being said, it says, your own body is a manifestation of God. And if you honor your body, everything will change for you. Practice giving love to every part of your body. This will plant seeds of love in your mind. And when they grow, you will love, honor, and respect your body immensely. Okay. You can, I don't know if they're gonna have me put these in the screenshots. Also, it's interesting that the butterfly came in because I have this really cute, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a paint, there's an owl right there. So the owl and the spider wanted to work with us. I feel like there was another spirit animal that they'll come around. Anyway, but up there I have a butterfly painting, and I have this right here, the monarch. So work with the butterfly energy. But that's it, right? Like a lot of us, you could be in different stages. You could be in the pupas. You could be in the cocoon. You could be out. But just because you pulled your wings out and you've become the butterfly doesn't mean you 100%, can fly, strong. You have to keep flying. The only way for a butterfly to get out is to keep pushing itself out. And as it does it, as it pushes itself out of the cocoon, the wings get stronger and stronger. That's why if you see a butterfly, never, ever, 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 ever help a butterfly get out of a cocoon. Never. Because it'll die. It literally needs to do that. It's like a workout that they need to do to strengthen their wings so that when they're ready, they'll fly out of there. But until then, they won't, and they'll die. So just a little food for thought. And if you did it before, you know what I mean? You didn't know any better. Forgive yourself. The butterfly forgives you. Okay, do we have any of these cards that want to come in yet? Okay, so always do your best. Love and nurture your body. Is there any? Ooh, I feel like it's like they want me to, okay. Ooh, there's some of you. I feel like the next message that's coming through, I'm feeling like I want to say something like prepare yourself. Okay, so for the empaths or whatever, it could be somebody that's going through something really intense. So hold on. Just prepare yourself. I don't mean to do that. It's just such a natural, like, again, like I just felt this energy that like somebody is going to, at least one person is going to have a hard time taking this next message. Okay. So, just be open. Okay. Oh, this is one that came through yesterday for us. Okay. So, okay. This one is, don't make assumptions. Ask for what you want. Don't make assumptions. What's that old saying? Assume, which is the base word of assumption, right? When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me, right? Like, because you cannot assume that to know what someone's actually going to do. Even if you're like, I know them, I know, you don't. especially right now. Nobody knows anybody. I mean, I cannot tell you. I don't remember the last time I felt this like really lost. I mean, as connected as I am, as much as I know, I still feel like I don't want to be here. I'm like, that's cool and all. Like, I get what's happening. I'm like, but can I just like not be here, you know? But I'm like, no, I signed on for this, and I signed on for to go through it in human form. You know, for some of us, it's like you're going to be an angel or a guardian, whether you're alive or dead, right? Whether you're in this avatar or you're in spirit form, you know, with nothing, no avatar at all, just consciousness. It doesn't matter. It's like there when you there's this practice that we have with ourselves that's why we come into human form, so that we can have the awareness. It's not just a conscious thought, it's about the evolution of going through it physically, feeling the pain. And because we have muscle memory, we have sensory memory, cellular memory, whatever, you know what I mean? We have all these different types of memory fields. We have spiritual memory. And you could be pulling something in from the past, from the future, because what we realize is it is absolutely linear. It's all the same. It's all happening at the same time. It's just there's multiple layers to it and dimensions. And so, you know, there's a version of you that is somewhere else doing something else. Or when you're sleeping, you're in a different part of your life. I mean, all of us have different things. I'm not saying all of you have the same experiences as me. I'm speaking of my own. But, you know, there is a level and a depth to our sensory system that we must acknowledge and love and nurture, which is why the love and nurture your body. And our avatars are taking on so much that's going on around us. So we cannot fill it with crap or slather it with crap. Everything we put on our body and in our body, Spirit has been telling us this for years. When I first initially went through that, I gave myself pancreatitis so that I had to eat healthy. It was like my body wouldn't even accept processed foods. I had to make everything from scratch. I would take one day a week where I would buy all of my food. I would come home. I would prep all my food. I had certain containers and everything. I tried to use as much glass as possible, glass containers, so that there's no seepage from the plastic. Like, I started to get real serious, and a lot of people thought I was fucking crazy, but I was the most in tune with spirit than I'd ever been. Because even now, even though I know more because I've evolved more, it's like I'm still not physically, mentally, and emotionally as connected as I was then. And I know that lack of it, and even with my partner, you know, I'm just like, I cannot be around you. Even Bubba, like, it's getting to the point where, you know, I was so grateful she came in at the beginning. But last night, I had to set a boundary with Bubba because I was like, I had made my food, and, you know, we moved back into our tiny home, and we have this really cute setup now, and I have this little table, and I'd found a movie, and I'd had this long, beautiful day with my friend and spirit work and everything. I did a lot of household chores, and I was like, tomorrow, I knew it was going to rain today, and I was like, I'm just going to do nothing. I'm like, I don't know when Alder's coming back in the next few days, but I knew I had today for sure. And I was like, I'm just going to, you know, and I had like all these like plans, right? So I sat down, I had my food, and I just started to eat, and she jumped up, and she's trying to get on my lap. And I was like, no, Bubba. I said, look, I set up the blanket for you next to me. I'm like, you can watch the movie next to me. I'm like, but I just, not right now. And she's like, oh, she's like bumping into me like, no, I want to be on your lap right now. And I was like, no. I'm like, I love you. You are my baby, but you need to go there. I'm like, I need to not be needed right now. Can I just be? Can I just watch this movie? And it was like an old movie. It was like one of those Bring It On movies. I used to be a cheerleader, and I was like, I'd never seen that one. And I was like, oh, I'm like, I've never seen that one. I'm like, that looks cute. I'm like, perfect, mindless, like whatever. I was like, Baba, like I had to set a boundary with my cat and say, no, I don't want to be on. I don't want you on me. I don't want anyone touching me. We are allowed to say that. We are allowed to say, I'm on overload. You know, I was telling my friend yesterday about an old friend of mine who checked herself into a psych ward, and some people might think that's extreme, but she was just like, she was so overloaded. And I don't blame her. Like, I get it. I know why she did that. Like, she needed to do that for herself because she was like, I don't want to do a dish. I don't want to help anyone. I don't want to do anything. 3 children, one of them special needs. She was just like, just back the fuck off. Married, work. Sometimes we just get overloaded, and when we're in sensory overload, spirit is like, that's an alarm bell telling you that you have not set your boundaries, that you have not, been taking care of yourself. You haven't been loving and nurturing yourself, and that's a big deal. So asking for what we want and setting our boundaries is massive. Do you know what do you guys see when you see this picture? Feel free to comment below. You can even pause it, comment below. So the great thing is we did this really great reading together yesterday. And when this card came up, we both had a completely different take on the card, which was so cool. And what I saw initially, all I saw was the desert. All I saw was this desert. That's all I saw. I mean, I knew there was something green. I knew that there was something. Then I saw a brain, which I've got to tell my friend that. I saw a brain. And then I realized it was a tree. And then I saw the person. I didn't even see the person. But then you know what I said? I go, you know what this reminds me of? I go, it's like this person is like almost dead in the desert. Like they're almost dead. Like they're about to die. Like maybe they got trapped out there, something happened, whatever, but no food, no water. They're about to die. Right? Their avatar's about to shut down because it doesn't have fluids. It doesn't have nourishment. It doesn't have anything, right? They're about to die. And then all of a sudden they hear their name in the distance, maybe. I didn't say this yesterday, but I'm saying this now. And then all of a sudden, a little bit of life comes out of their mouth and they say help, and somehow somebody hears them, right? But we don't want to get to the point where we feel like we're in the desert dying and on our last breath of life. That's not what we're here to do. That's not our job. Our job is to take care of ourselves so that we can help others. Isis has been coming to me so much. Feel free to work with Isis. Also, labradorite has been coming up a lot too. I'm wearing turquoise and coral and prehnite that was gifted from one of our tribe members. Thank you, sweetie. So on the back of this, it says, find the courage to ask for what you want. Others have the right to tell you yes or no, but you always have the right to ask. Likewise, everybody has the right to ask you for what they want, and you have the right to say yes or no. And a lot of times I say yes because I know somebody really needs something, and I think I'll be okay. I'm strong. I know how to self-care. I know how to take care of myself. I can just do this thing for them, and I can shut down for 2 days. It's all good. But the problem is I haven't been doing that because we just moved, and every day I find a new project, a new thing, a new something, or I'm like, this needs to be taken care of. This needs to be tended to. This needs to be blah, blah, blah. And I've kind of like worn myself out to the point where I was like, you know what? You need to go. I mean, if I have to ask my husband to leave his own home because I need space, that's pretty serious, like that's really, really serious. So, if you have, I mean, trust me, I let my license expire so many years ago, and it's just such a big deal. And now where I live, in the state that I live, it's the most expensive driver's license of anywhere I've ever lived. I've paid less for passports. And part of it is because I'm on a border state, and I really feel like it's silly not to get, there's a passport version that you can get of your driver's license where it's like you can go across the border. And I was like, why wouldn't I? You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't I? I'm in a border state. Like, why wouldn't I want to, you know what I mean? I would pay the extra money. So that's part of it too. I could probably just pay a little bit less. But I'm like, I'm not going that far to only go that far. It's just not the way I roll. Plus, I feel like I'm supposed to do that. But anyway, I miss driving. I miss having my own car. I miss having freedom. And I feel like this year, a lot of things are going to change. So I don't know. My phone keeps doing this thing. It's saying welcome to chat. So I don't know if I'm cutting in or out. It looks like I'm, oh, when I looked, it was 11:22. Have you been seeing 11:22? Lately, I've been seeing like, I'll do the 11:22, 11:33, 11:44. Last night it was 22 because I keep military time for spirit numbers. And it was like 22, 22, 22, 33, 22, 44. I was getting like that yesterday. So, look, when those come up, it's a message, and you'll be surprised how much it aligns with, what you're talking about. Okay, so do we have any more messages? Because I do feel like some of these are going to be for shorts, I feel like some of these are going to be shorts for the magical medium, and I feel like some of them might actually be a reading for the magical medium. So this one flew over there, and then this is really interesting. Okay, so let me see which one they want us to do now. Both of them. Okay, so the first one of these two is always do your best. It's from two beautiful, gorgeous geese just flew by too. So if you might want to look up geese, spirit medicine. Or no, they're ducks. They're ducks. I apologize. Oh, they're both. There's both. There's ducks. We moved, we're on a beautiful farm, and there's a little pond / lake kind of thing from my neighbor. And so we see a lot of birds like kind of come in, but so whatever pulled to you, duck or goose, whatever, maybe it's both. Anyway, so this is take action on your ideas. And they're saying always do your best, meaning like what's good for you. For some of you, I'm hearing stop comparing yourself to other people. Don't do it. Don't do it. 55-47, then it went to 48. So don't compare yourself to other people. That is the kiss of death. If you were meant to be the same, you would be born twins as Bopsy twins, right? Like you would have the same brain. And even twins don't exactly think even if they, whatever, they have their own identity, their own thoughts, even if they have the twin brain where they can, so, I'm hearing like your idea is just as important as somebody else. And I'm hearing for some of you, you think your idea is not a big deal, but it is. And sometimes it's the smallest ideas that make the biggest impact is what Spirit wants me to say to you. Okay. And the back of this says, doing your best means to take action. You can have many great ideas in your head, but without action upon an idea, there will be no manifestation, no results, and no reward. So whatever you've been thinking, and look at, they're showing you like it's a wide spectrum of ideas, big, and there is no idea or no manifestation that is too great. I saw something recently that said, don't, it's okay to dream or something. Just don't dream beyond your means or something, and it was a spiritual person. And I'm like, that's the people I'm fucking talking about. Don't listen to that. There's nothing beyond your means. There's nothing. The only thing that is beyond your means is like the obvious stuff. You know what I mean? Like if you were born, like I was born, white, Caucasian, whatever, it's like I no matter how hard I try, no matter how hard I influence myself, I can move to Africa, I can live in Ghana, I could, become like them, but I will never ever look like them. I will never have their pigment. I will never, do you know what I mean? As much as I want to be that. Okay, now that's an extreme, but that's true. But you want to be a famous singer or you want to change the world with your writing, you can. Every person that's out there, trust me when I tell you, I've met so many famous people throughout my life, and the one thing that it boils down to is they're just people. They're just people, just like you and me. Yeah, of course, there's some nepotism. Some people were born with money, or some people were born with famous parents, so it's a lot easier for them. Of course. But that was their soul path. That's what they chose. You chose a harder path because the harder the path, the harder the journey, the greater, not even the greater the reward, but it just means that you have something more to give. You have something more to say. There's a lot of people out there right now. There was someone recently that I looked at. I don't want to say their name because that would make me sound like a jerk, but there's somebody, they're both of their parents are famous. There's so many people out there right now where both their parents are famous, so I'm not going to say their name. But I was like, I just feel like people like overdo like how talented they are. I'm like, they're okay. Like, I mean, they're good, but I was like, I've seen people, that I'm like are really talented on YouTube that are still struggling. You know what I mean? And I know their background and they don't have money or rich parents or famous parents, and they're doing their best, So, there's a reason for that. I'm not saying that what this person is bringing to the world isn't important. I'm sure it is. I'm just saying like, and I know that sounds me being kind of like a dick and being judgmental, but I'm just looking at it at the scales of like what I see as like creative or what I see as like really talented. So it's my opinion, but you know what I mean? So that's going to happen. That's going to happen. You're going to see a lot of people that you don't feel like are as talented as other people, and that's just the way things go. So, you know what that is? That's for you to prove that you have something to give too. And you're not really proving it to anyone but yourself. And we are our only obstacle. You know, I can blame my partner or Bubba and say, "Oh, they're clawing at me in my time, whatever," but I'm the one that needs to set my boundaries and say, "No, no, no." But instead I'm like, "Oh, no, it's okay," or, "Oh, it's all right," you know, blah blah blah. That's on me. Same for you. So our last one, because I feel like this is it, is don't take anything personally. And that kind of goes in with what I'm saying. See other people as they are and not who you want them to be. I'm like trying to choose my words wisely with this one because it can sound preachy and it can sound, you know, not friendly and not nice. So I'm going to bring out a little bit of my shadow here, okay? And again, my opinion. But when you see somebody, if they show you who they are, you have to believe them. Because even if they're showing you a side of them that isn't so pleasant and you're like, "Oh, everybody has bad days." Yes. But that's what they're showing you. That may be the worst that they have in there, or there could be even worse. On the opposite side of that, maybe it's somebody who's super happy and uplifting and you know, joyful all the time. You know, I remember I had a roommate once and she was telling me the story about how she had to move out because she had this roommate that was just, she goes, at first I thought that she was just this bright light and I couldn't wait, you know, like she's like, I loved being around her. I thought this is going to be a great influence on my life. And she said, until like a few months in, she said, I had a bad day. I came home from work and they felt the little feather. Thank you, Spirit. And they felt the need to, you know, try and uplift them. And they're like, you know what? I'm just having a bad fucking day. And I don't want to feel better right now. Like, I just want to go through these emotions. And they're like, yeah, but you don't need to. You know what I mean? Like, just let's just do something else. Let's just like, what can we do? Like, you know, make you happy. And she's like, nothing. Like, I just want to be fucking miserable for a minute. That is a human condition. We need to work through shit. If we're just constantly on this, so it's like, you know, another thing that's been coming through is spirituality, that you need to stay in this high vibration all the time. Let me tell you, I spent the last year trying to do that, and all I did was run myself into the ground. Saying yes to everybody ran me into the ground. Like right now, I'm like, no, I am going to block people. I'm like, I'm going to, you know what I mean? Like, because I need space and time for myself, not forever, but you know, so if you reach out to me and I don't respond, it's because I cannot. And especially, you know, what I'm seeing is that there's so much of things that need to change that we all each individually need to work on. And if I see, you know, that someone isn't working on something, it's really hard for me to listen to any type of woes or complaints when I'm like, you are literally self-sabotaging. And this is going around with a lot of people. And I was starting to find empathically where I was staying in a lower vibration just to kind of like, you know, or I'm having a really good day and like my partner is like in this kind of like this. And I'm like, come on, I'm like, let's dance, let's live. And he's like, and that's tough. That's tough when you're living with another person, you know? So right now he and I are trying to figure that out because, you know, even if we had a house, you know, sometimes you just don't want to be around people at all. And I can't always kick him out of his own home. So, you know, it's a really important year for us to work on ourselves and not have the influence of others who are not supportive. It's really big. So, see other people as they are. And this says, when you see other people as they are without taking it personally, you can never be hurt by what they say or do, even if others lie to you. It is okay that they are lying to you because they are afraid you will discover that they are not perfect. There's so many facets of this. You know, I was feeling that with my partner. Like, he doesn't want to disappoint me. He wants to be like this spiritual, enlightened being, but he's going through some really dark, heavy shit. And I'm coming out of the dark, heavy shit, and I want to get back to the light, but I feel like I'm stuck in this like transitional, or I should say, but do you hear that? I sound like I'm blaming him, but I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying, like, I'm realizing like what my limitations are right now. And so what I realized was I'm seeing him for who he is. I'm seeing myself for who I am. And I'm like, they're not aligning. So what do we do? And I said, well, let's just start with like a kind of a trial separation to just see if we just need breathing room. And if we realize that beyond that, we need more than breathing room, we'll go from there. But for now, you know, it's imperative that we surround ourselves with people that are at least on the trajectory of bettering their lives. And like yesterday, we had a lot of heavy shit that we had to go through with spirit. They held space for me. It was really great. We had some really great conversations. I held space for them, and we had a lot of laughs though too, and we laughed at it. We laughed at our humanness. We laughed at just everything that we're going through, because you got to laugh through it. It's just too intense right now. It's too heavy. It's just too heavy. And when we can't deal with other people's things, then we shouldn't. We each can only heal ourselves. And then if we are too, like what I was trying to say to him is, right now we're both very fractured, and we're two fractured people trying to put these pieces together. And they used to, but they don't go together anymore, because we're both trying to elevate into better versions of ourselves. It's in a few weeks, it'll be 9 years that Alder and I have been together and known each other. So, that's a long time, a lot of change and transformation. And I said, isn't that funny? I said, we got together in 2015, 2017. We were seeing certain things about our relationship and about ourselves, and then we chose to move forward together through it. But there's been a lot of moments where I felt like we were supposed to like really break up. Not that we weren't going to ever get back together, but I just definitely felt like we were supposed to break up. And we did have times where we took breaks, but never really long enough. And I feel like now it's come to a place where I cannot, I have to do what's right for me. And moving forward as a medicine, woman, I know that my purpose here is much greater than just my relationship. And he and I have been in a comfort zone for a long time. He and Baba and I have created this beautiful family together. We love each other. Our family will always be family. We will always be family. That kind of thing. Like, we will always be family. And even if you break apart from people and you never talk again, there's always going to be that part of you that is their family. But families, we change and we grow and we evolve, and sometimes we move forward together and sometimes we don't. I hope so. I hope that this is just a little dip in the road, that we just need to take a break and go on our way. But if not, then I want us to, both of us have discussed how important each other's happiness is to each other. And that's when it's a very mature, loving relationship, because each other's happiness really genuinely is what you want for each other. So, if you're with someone who's like, I just want to be with you, and, blah, 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 but they're not worried about your happiness it should be important. And if it's not, be impeccable with your word. Yes. And your thoughts. And it's okay to have dark shadow thoughts, right? But then also try and remember the good things. Remember like what you love about yourself, the universe, people, places, things, whatever. There's always one good thing in something, even if it's like, you're like, oh, no, Lula. Oh yeah. So Hitler and whatever, there's something good. Well, yeah, because now we know that evil like that really exists. And people kept thinking, oh, we're evolving, and it was like, no, people needed to see that that evil still existed, and that evil is always in the underbelly of our society, of our world, of this universe, because it exists here. And it's like, we don't want to be in this delusion that everything is perfect and everything, even now with the spiritual awakening that's happening, when people are like, oh, in the next few years, it's going to be kumbaya on the planet and everything's going to be fucking great. No, it's not. It's going to take a long time. It took thousands of years for us to be where we are now. It's going to take a while. Are we going to see significant change in our lifetime? Yes. But, it's going to take, I feel personally, there's going to take at least 100 years for us to see something so profound that we're like, wow, remember, like they're going to look back on us and be like, wow, look at what they did for us. Look at what the ancestors did for us. They laid this groundwork, to bring, peace and love back to Earth, you know. But Earth will dissolve, Earth will die. She's an organism, she's an entity. She will eventually burn off, and she will go into effigy, like where she's supposed to be. She'll go somewhere else. Maybe she'll be in the shape of a fucking sponge. I don't know. She'll be somewhere, but it's so in depth. It's not just the surface that we see of spirituality, or the surface of understanding. There's so many layers, and it goes so deep, and we can't understand. We don't know why. We don't know. I remember the first time I saw Pet Cemetery. I don't want to give it away, so if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. you know I'll never forget the first time I saw the real Stephen King's Pet Cemetery at the theater. I'd never seen anything like that at that point. People didn't really want to show things like that. It was such a dark, horrible thing for us to witness, and then the whole movie is based around that, and that burial ground and bringing them back to life and everything. It's like that kind of thing shook me to my core. I remember the first time I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I was like, what the fucking fuck? I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, la, la, la. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, like I can't even think about it. The original one, and I mean, and these were things like in the 70s as a child, I was like, what is happening? What is going on with the world, And then into the 80s in my teen years, and I was just like, and so we just started to see more and more horror was being brought back in. And I was like, wow, wasn't the age of Aquarius in 1969? Wasn't it like, when the moon is in 7,000, yeah, everything's great and woohoo, yeah, awesome. But then it was like, no, there's some dark, seedy fucking shit happening. And we have to look at it and we have to see it so that we can heal it, so that it will stop, because that comes from somewhere. As babies, we are not born, even if you're like in the womb with a really dark person, whatever, of course that's going to penetrate you. But when you get out into the world, you will see light, you will see love, you will see acceptance, you will see gratitude, you will see all of these things. So it is up to us to either take that in and turn it into something else, or we internalize it. And if we're internalizing it, then we have to work through it. And that's where my struggle has been, is working through it in a healthy way for me and my family, while I've been trying to stay in this like kind of kumbaya high vibration. And Spirit's like, girl, like you are 70% masculine in your chart. Like so I was like, oh, that means I have to work harder, and they're like, no, like you made yourself this way. We made you this way for a reason, so that I can, be stronger, in this divine feminine, vessel. It's like, it's for me to say like, this is, I created this facade, but like, I'm also strong, and I've got a lot of masculine in me. And so, this is also the crumble of the divine masculine. So there must be some things inside of me that I'm meant to work through so that I can bring it back to you, so that you can work through yours. I chose to have more masculine in my chart because this is the demise of the divine masculine, of greed, control, the parts of the divine masculine that were completely bastardized and molested beyond anything that it was ever meant to be. It's about the balance of divine masculine, divine feminine, not like, oh, I'm going to come in and I'm going to rape and pillage. It's like, no, of course we love the divine masculine. It's part of us. We need it. We need the yin and the yang. There's a reason for that. We need fire and water. We need, the balance of all those things. Like, they're there for a reason. You need 4 legs to make the table, a square table, stable, right? Because without the one leg, it's going to go like that. So it's about grounding and stability. But it's also about working through our things and recognizing people for who they are and what they are. You can love them anyway, but it doesn't mean that you are there to be their fucking whipping boy or girl, It doesn't mean that you're there to be their punching bag, It reminds me of that song from Pink where she's like, please don't leave me. I know something, but it's always going to come right back to this. She's like, you're my perfect little punching bag, and I need you. I'm sorry. Well, no. I mean, it's a great lyric and a great metaphor, and I understand what she's saying in the song, but she's also saying, like, Don't leave me. I know I'm not perfect. I know that I've overstepped my boundaries. I know blah blah blah. I'm trying. I'm working on myself. Please don't leave me. And I feel like there's a lot of that going on right now. But when someone, if you are a life raft for somebody, remember that we're not supposed to be a life raft for somebody. It's one thing to help somebody, but only one person can be on the raft. You know, the whole Titanic. Like, I remember one time I saw an interview with Kate Winslet, and he's like, "What's the story with that?" He's like, "Really? Like, you couldn't have Jack on there with you?" And she's like, "You know, it's so funny." She goes, "People ask me this all the time." She goes, and over the years, she's like, "I've thought about it." She's like, "No." Actually, they probably would have gone down. She's like, she was balancing on this piece of, metal, this door or whatever. And she's like, if he had climbed on top of her, they probably wouldn't have both been able to be up there. She's like, they probably would have both sunk. And so he gave his life for her. He wanted to make sure that she lived, and so that's beautiful and that's admirable, but and it's like he wasn't swimming trying to find another door. He's just standing there trying to help keep her alive. But what did it do? It drained him and he died, right? Sorry if you've never seen the Titanic, but it's kind of a big one. But you know what I mean? It's like, and he had the same hopes and aspirations she did when he got on that boat. But it's like we cannot be a life raft, and especially if someone's like this. Have you ever seen when someone's drowning and another person is like trying to stay afloat and they're freaking out? It's like we can't have that. Sorry about that energy. But, it's like we need to, you know, it's personal. We have to heal ourselves and save ourselves. It is nobody else's job but ours. If every single person on this planet was just taking care of themselves, we would have no poverty, we would have no greed, we'd have no problems. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't help when you have ample energy, when you have ample finances and funds to help others. Of course. Of course. Whenever I'm in the black, I love giving back. I really do. It's like, and I recently had something like that happen. And I made a comment to my husband about something. I said, what's funny? I find that like when I'm in the black, I give and I give and I give because I know it's always going to come back to me. But I've also noticed that when people are stuck in the poverty consciousness, and they're like, well, I only have so much, so I can't give. It's like, no, you're not realizing that actually giving will bring it back to you. So if you're like, oh no, I can't, I gotta just have to take care of myself. It's like there's a very fine line between self-care and not caring about someone else. It's like, because the money will come back around, the energy will come back around. So if you have ample energy but you're just like, I'm always going to protect myself, I'm going to stay over here and I don't go out into public and I don't talk to people and I don't help people, it's like, okay, well then what are you doing with all that energy? You're just hoarding it, you know? So it's like on the flip side, when I started at the beginning where I was like, I'm exhausted, I need this time alone, blah, blah, blah. But even with you guys, this drains me. This takes my energy. I'm reading for you. My friend said that to me yesterday because we do the same thing for a living. And she was just like, she was, I think people take for granted what we do because they're just like, oh, they're so special or they have, and it's like, no, we're also human. So we have to rest. We have to, when I'm done with this, I won't do anything else today. I'll let it upload and all that, and then I'll edit it and I'll put it out when it's meant to. But if it's meant to, I don't know. Maybe I'm doing this just for me. When I looked up, it was 11801, which is also the number 11. Interesting. But even angels, even earth angels in human form, we get trained. Okay. So we got to take care of ourselves. So be impeccable with your word. Create a beautiful dream. And this goes back to take action with your ideas. And I love this where it's going right now because our first card, I'm going to go in order. So we had love and nurture your body, ask for what you want, take action on your ideas, and create a beautiful dream, right? It's like a message. And it's saying, always do your best. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best and be impeccable with your word. So always do your best, but then don't make assumptions. Also, just because somebody doesn't like what you do artistically, who fucking cares? There's going to be other people who do. We all have different things. You're not going to love everything. I worked in an art gallery and art really is subjective. And there'd be some things that would come into the gallery, like whether it was sculptures or, anything, paintings, whatever, charcoal, and whatever the medium was. And there'd be things that would come through. Most of the time I was like Boulanger, like I found out like this amazing artist that I'd never even heard of, and like changed my whole perspective on art completely, and then like this person brought in this mobile, and it was like $10,000, and I was like, what? I'm like, that's $10,000. I was like, it looks like a bunch of pieces of metal just like glued together, like I was like, and she's like, yes, but to somebody else. She's like, here, I want to show you something. And then she showed me the mobile and like how the balance of it was like, and it was always kind of moving, because it was up kind of high. And so like, if the air conditioning was on or the heater, anything that was blowing air, it would move. But where it was, it would only move very subtly. Like they knew what they were doing, like the curators, right? You need to have people who know what they're doing, putting an art gallery together or a museum or anything like that. There's always a nuance, a story, picture, something to help even, not just for the sales, but just for also the people to see the art in the best way that it is meant to be seen. And and she just barely tapped it, and the way it moved and shifted, it was so cool, and it was all about balance, and it was so awesome. And I'm like, I can see where someone would pay $10,000 for that, because it's like a constant reminder, but also the way it would shift and look different, and so all of a sudden those little pieces of metal came together, and I saw them in a completely different way. So somebody's creating what their dream is, right? So it's like, and then they're bringing their dream to somebody else that's going to put that in their home. And when people come to their home, maybe they'll have a significant experience as well. Okay. So this says your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. Impeccability of the word only creates beauty, love, and heaven on earth. I started to realize I haven't been impeccable with my word. I was raised by a parent who was very smart, very articulate, very well read, very studied, and could literally, they could go against somebody with a sword or a knife and say something that would cut them in half, and they wouldn't even need to use a weapon. Well, what do you think that did for me as a sponge, as a child? So what I started to learn is that if I use certain words, or if I say certain things that I know how to hurt somebody, I can cut them so deep. I've been a horrible person throughout my life, and I've been a wonderful, beautiful person throughout my life. But, my friend sent me this thing yesterday about strawberry shortcake and exploding. I forgot. It just made me laugh. I'll in the community section. But yeah, it's like, right? Like, because it's natural. If you just keep it in all the time, you're going to explode. And when you explode and you lose your noggin and you're not like connected, when I looked up, it was 122.22, 2, 6, 8, 9, another 9 coming around too. But also there's that 22 again. And I started to like see things in a way that I was really grateful that she had me look at it. And she said, we cannot be fluff and unicorns and rainbows all the time. It's just not natural. But we can be impeccable with our words and our thoughts. And so I know for me personally, my biggest challenge this year is getting back to taking care of my body inside and out, like really, really, really taking care of it the way I used to. And not even the way I used to, but in a new way that my body needs now, right? Like, listen, I'm going to the past. Again, something I got to work on. It's okay. There's certain things in our past that they're going to come up, but we can't cherry pick certain things, because we don't really know if that thing from the past is going to help us in our present or in our future. So we really just need to stay as present as possible and say, okay, what's in front of me now? Where am I at now? What do I need now? And I feel like that's when the healing will really begin. And let me see if there's any more. Do we have any more? I do feel like some of them are meant for the shorts. Okay. Oh, yay, a new one. Don't make assumptions. So don't make assumptions came up again too. Again, because we're making assumptions means that we're going in the past, that we think somebody's going to do or say or act a certain way because that's what we know of them, right? That's we're like, but we're putting that out there. it's like, I mean, there's just so many things we have to change, you guys. There's so many things that we have to it's a duvet. So I feel like, but it's the angels. I feel like it's the angels that are like, yes, yes, they're like everywhere. They're like trying to show us, like, like they're here. The angels are here. They're everywhere. And they're like, whatever you need, we can help you with. So if you're like for myself, I'm just gonna say right now, Spirit, please help me. Let me find the words. Spirit, please guide me towards a better vocabulary and languaging that helps instead of hurts. For now, I'm going to claim that for myself, and so it is. Thank you, Spirit. Blessed be Aho. And I may want to rephrase that at one point. Another pearl of wisdom that she gave me yesterday was that she had a keyword for the year, and she really loved it. And we both do that. A lot of times, you guys, I'll do like a New Year's thing, and I'll say, this is the year, or this is our phrase for the year, this is our spirit animal, or numbers, or all of the above. They do the same, and they said that they felt like this was such a positive word, and this was, and it is. And then their teacher kind of said back to them, or their person of influence at the time said, yes, but this word also means this, and this word can also blah blah blah, and that's probably why you feel more drained. And they were like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. I think they'd be okay with me sharing it. Their word was radiate. Like they wanted to radiate love and light and whatever. I don't know, I'm paraphrasing like but their word was radiate. And then their person was like, yes, but if you're radiating out, are you sure that you're still getting back? Because if you're giving and you're radiating, it's like you're going to keep giving, and then you're depleting yourself. So, we need these people. We need to, that's why we do need community. We do need friends. And we do need to be mindful of who we have around us. It doesn't, I remember something that was like, something like, you're so successful if you have, if you can count 5 friends, or I think it was something like this when I was growing up. If you can count 5 good friends, if you can count on your hand 5 good friends that you can call right now, like in your 40s or your 50s, like when you're like at a certain point in your life, if you can call on 5 people, then you're the richest person in the world, or you're so successful, or something like that. And I think I lived by that philosophy for a long time, because I agreed with it. I was like, yeah, that is successful if you still have your friends. And so I took that as like some type of badge of honor. If I kept my friends from my childhood or from my 20s or whatever, like that, the more friends I had, the more successful I was. It was so the opposite. And now I feel like, my friend and I were talking about this yesterday, and I thought about there's only about 3 people that I'm really, really, really close to. And the other people, it's like, I love them and they're in my life, and you guys are in the tribe and stuff, but it's like, I don't need that. I'm very much a solo person. And even my friend and I, we haven't spoke since, like, I think my birthday in December, because we both, we have so much going on. And she even has children and a husband and her work, and that's a lot. So, and I have, dealing in this off-grid life is like a part-time job, in Baba and Alder, and so it's a lot. And I'm just realizing that it's not that I don't love people and I don't want them in my life. I just don't need that much attention, and I definitely don't need that many people, because what I find is the more people you have in your life, the more problems you bring into your life. Because people want you, even if people say they can solve their own problems, a lot of times people want people to solve their problems for them. And that's not what this is for. That's not why we're here. So this one is, don't make assumptions, eliminate gossip. And on the back of this, it says, making assumptions is a setup for suffering, because usually we gossip about our assumptions. We make assumptions and believe we are right. Then we defend our assumptions and try to make others wrong. So gossip is just a reflection of the inadequacies if we're gossiping about another person, we're trying to, like, there's somehow that is something we're not dealing with, or something we're dealing with, and we're trying to understand it. Because again, that came up yesterday, and I was talking about some things that I'd been going through, and I said, I don't want to talk shit, or I don't want to gossip. I don't want to, it was like, I basically said this to them, and they brought up a good point, and they said, yes, but there's gossiping, and then there's like, sometimes you need to work through something with somebody. And she's like, that's what we do when we're together on the phone. So she's like, you're just trying to understand that person, or you're trying to, she's like, gossiping is like talking smack and shit about somebody because, or, jealousy, coveting, like things like that, like say you're not feeling so good about yourself and you go on social media. Worst thing you could do. Worst thing you could do. Or the worst thing you can do is watch a reading or do a reading for yourself when you're at your lowest. I know that's hard. I know that's hard. That's why I said to her, I was kind of surprised that Spirit wanted us to bring cards in, but we didn't bring cards in until we talked for like 2 hours about, because we were catching up on our lives and what we'd been through and stuff we'd been going through individually, and then with our families, and just like outwardly, like everything. And then once that was finished, then we were calm and we were in a good place, and then we read the cards. If we had read the cards from the beginning, who knows what would have come through. You know what I mean? So be mindful of that, eliminating gossip. I mean, even like, look at the little side eye from the dog. Like the dog's like, are you talking about me? Have you ever done that? Have you ever talked about your pet, your familiar, your friend, your furry friend? I don't like to say pet, but some people align with that. So have you ever done that? 1334 angel number, by the way, which is also 1334 would be 11, another angel number, right? 13. So it's 4 and 7. Yeah. But has your pet ever given you the side eye? They're like, I hear you talking about me. I know you're talking about me. So I'm just going to leave that one there. Okay, do we have any more doing? Oh, I feel like these are going to be for shorts. Yay! All right, do we going to pull any tarot? Because I do have 3 tarot. Oh, these are going to be for shorts too. Yay! Okay, you guys, so here we are. And I'm going to put them in order because I feel like they want to be in order. So, thanks for hanging in here this long. We had a big session today. Okay, was it this one before this one? Was it? I don't remember anymore. Is this the order you want me to say them in? Otherwise, I was going to say I can just reshuffle them. Okay. Okay, so love and nurture your body. Ask for what you want. Take action on your ideas and create a beautiful dream. And as long as you see other people as they are, it will eliminate the gossip. This is your show. You're the star of it, just like it's my show and I'm the star of it. It's your life. You have free will. You can do as you please. Anything else, Spirit? Anything else? Anything else? Oh, also, this was gifted to my husband. I got to find out what the name of it is, but I've been really drawn to it, and I feel like we're all meant to work with it. It could be rhodonite. I don't remember, but she gifted him with this, and it really wanted to come in today. So did amethyst, and so did rose quartz. Okay, and labradorite, and then the coral and the turquoise and the what did I say this is? I guess I already said it, so whoever needed it, needed it. Okay, that's it. Work with butterfly, owl, and spider spirit animals. And until next time, I don't know when that will be, but until next time, I love you so much. And please love yourself, love each other. Take a lot of time for yourself right now and work on you and your dreams and your ideas. Bring them into manifestation. I don't know. Actually, they had me bring the calendar, so I knew there must be a reason, because I had to laugh. I've been so bad. You guys, those of you who've been with me a long time, you guys know, like, I really would get into the moon cycles and all that. And this year, it's like I barely like wrote anything in there. It was just kind of bizarre. And then when I went to look at my calendar the other day, I realized that April, because see how I tick the days? I realized that I was so stressed out from the move, because we moved on April 4th, that I didn't even do anything. I just ended up putting a whole line. It's like April didn't even exist. And April was really hardcore for Scorpios and Sagittarius too. If you went through a really rough time, I mean, we all did with everything. And there's so much to say. We all know what happened. But yeah, so interesting. So now we're in May. I didn't bring my pen. And we're on May 4th. So the new moon is, according to this calendar, May 7th. which is also National Teacher Day. Awesome. And we have Cinco de Mayo tomorrow, which is also, why would they have Cinco de Mayo on Holocaust Remembrance Day? I mean, I know they're different countries and different things and stuff, but like that's just interesting to me. You know why? Because it's like in my mind, I know Cinco de Mayo is supposed to be the, you know, their Freedom Day, like our 4th of July, but May 5th isn't even the real day. It's another day. I don't remember now. I think it's in June. And I don't know why Holocaust Day was put down that way, but I just think it's interesting because Cinco de Mayo in America has become like a party day. It's like I said, like 4th of July, which of course I want them to have their independence, but I guess it's just for me, the calendar feels weird because it's like there were many years where Cinco de Mayo meant margaritas to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, right? Because people don't associate like that this is actually someone's but or their Freedom Day. But then also Holocaust Remembrance Day is like, to me, is like such a heavy. We were just talking about the Holocaust. It's so, or talking about Hitler. That's really interesting. So that's why I have a like a little, my little dog's like, you know, like that's interesting. But interesting, right? Because it's just my perspective. It's just my perspective of it. So interesting. So I feel like this was all meant to come about because this new moon, whenever you watch this, it's always timeless, but there's something to this. I feel like this new moon in Taurus, which is an earth energy, a grounding energy, while we're still in Taurus energy, is going to be really powerful. I feel like almost in a weird way, it's going to be the most powerful new moon of the year so far. Even though I know the last new moon was over the eclipse and all that, and it was so crazy, blah, blah, blah. And we were going from, you know, this and that. But I don't know. I'm just feeling like this really strong. Oh, I just got the chills. Ooh, and then look at, I saw priorities, which is like on the calendar, like where you can like write something. So that's interesting. So make it a priority over the next few days to really set your intentions on this new moon. Write it down, you know, say it, speak it into, you know, the new moon in Taurus, speak it to spirit. I don't know what else is going on astrologically then, but you may even want to look into that as well. And like I said, it says on here May 7th. So it could be one of those, it's the 6th to the 7th or 7th to the 8th, you know, because there's 24 hours in a day. So, but definitely, oh, and the 7th, oh my gosh, we've been talking about this 7 the whole time. Holy shit. Yes, because it's a new cycle. There's something with this. So I don't know if I'll come forward again before that. So if you made it this far, you were meant to hear that. All right. I love you. I'll see you next time. Blessed be. Oh.